Good morning, Knoxville. Mayor Kincannon, thank you for your kind words. Thank you for the confidence you've expressed in me. I promise I will not let you down. Chief Thomas, I'm humbled and honored to follow in your footsteps. I know I am inheriting a strong police department, and it's a credit to your leadership and the hard work that you have put in over the 30 years you have served at the Knoxville Police Department. I will work hard every day to live up to the high standard that you have set as Knoxville's police chief. I want to recognize my parents, my mom and dad, they're watching at home. The work ethic, my work ethic and the passion for service that you have instilled upon me allowed me to be here today. Thank you for everything that you have done for me over my lifetime. And to my wife, Rachel, you have always been there side by side through all of the hardships, countless hurricanes, Mardi Gras, numerous late-night call-outs in the middle of the night to go out to a murder scene. I'm forever grateful for everything that you have done, and I would not be here as well without your support. And finally, I want to recognize my team at the New Orleans Police Department. I know you're all huddled around a computer somewhere watching me up here today, up in this, strange city. But leaving you is the hardest decision I have ever had to make in my life. Many sleepless nights deciding whether or not, where I wanted to go with my career. And as your deputy superintendent for the last almost 7 years, I've never been more proud to watch the successes that you have achieved under some of the most difficult circumstances imaginable. I know I will continue to see great things come from your ranks. Thank you for all you've done for me. So I know everybody's curious to learn more about me, if you haven't Googled me already, which I'm sure you have. But first and foremost, I am a crime fighter. That's what my record is. I'm committed to a community-focused, problem-oriented policing style that builds trust, reduces crime, and demands accountability. I believe our fundamental mission to the members of our community is to create safe public spaces by using legal, moral, and ethical means, and that will include bringing peer intervention programs to within our police department. Next, I want you to know that community engagement is key, and that includes my interaction with each one of you. I will be accessible, and I will create an organizational culture which values systematic problem solving, community partnerships, and transparency. Being a part of a community means you must have relationships, and relationships are built on trust. I commit to you today that we'll build ties, work to repair broken relationships, and enhance existing ones. At the same time, understand that your support must be earned every day, in every encounter, in every conversation, and in every action. I pledge to you that the time and energy that you have invested in me will be returned tenfold. Partnership and collaboration between the police and the community are essential to create safe public spaces in every corner of our city. As residents of Knoxville, you cannot and should not remain silent, because we know public safety is truly a two-way street. I will be counting on your participation and your engagement. I am also committed to filling the vacancies at the Knoxville Police Department and getting our staffing levels back up to where they need to be. So we can put... I know that police departments are struggling all across the country to recruit and retain good talent, but with the strong support from Mayor Kincannon, her just-released budget proposal, and the backing of all of you, I know we'll be able to work towards our goals of having a fully operational police force that's representative of the people that we serve. To the command staff of the Knoxville Police Department, I'm excited to see some of you all here today. I'm excited to work with such a talented group of hardworking men and women. As we move forward together, we will embrace analytics and research to systematically approach issues of crime, community policing, quality control, and administrative management. We will use data to measure outcomes, prevent unintended consequences, and to hold each other accountable. Remember, the procedures we use are equally as important as the outcomes we seek to achieve. I will expect each of you to put the organization before themselves as we create an environment of accountability and collaboration as we work together to reduce crime, enhance community partnerships, improve our organizational culture, and more importantly, develop the next generation of leadership from within our ranks. to the patrol officers of the Knoxville Police Department. I'm glad to see some of you all here as well. You are the most important people in our organization. You are on our streets every day, and no one knows what is working better and what is not than you do. Your opinion matters to me, and I will be relying on your ideas, your energy, and your innovation to help our organization evolve and thrive. I will expect from you your unwavering commitment to the integrity of our profession and to the honor of the badge that we wear over our hearts. The reality is we're often defined by a handful of bad actions of our colleagues and not the many acts of courage, compassion, and service that you perform routinely every day when you go to work. Your reputation and the reputation of our department depends upon your actions. I know you will not let me down. I cannot begin to express my excitement as I assume the responsibilities as your next chief of police, and I look forward to years of partnership and collaboration as we continue to ensure that the city of Knoxville is a great place to live, work, and raise our families. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Noel. I want to let everyone know that he will be officially sworn in as chief on Monday, June 13th. Until that time, I've asked Assistant Chief Mark Fortner to step in as acting chief, and he has graciously accepted. So thank you very much, Chief Fortner. And now we will open it up to take a few questions from the media. Acting Chief Mark Fortner, F-O-R-T-N-E-R. And Noel is 2 syllables. Noel, not just...
Mayor, what stood out to you about Deputy Superintendent Noel? Why did you pick him?
Well, I said all along that I wanted the best person for the job, and his experiences in all different parts of police work, his experience starting EPIC, seemed to be an excellent fit, and he also loves our city and is excited to be here, and it just he had all the things that our community said that they wanted in a police chief, and so those are why I was thrilled that he applied and thrilled that we were able to offer him this position. He accepted.
I have a question for Chief Deputy Noel.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
The intervention training that you all have implemented in New Orleans, some in other jurisdictions, sometimes there are pushback from officers who think they're supposed to be telling on each other and that sort of thing. How are you going to convince those officers that this type of training is in their best interest?
So the beauty about what we created in New Orleans, ethical policing is courageous, and active bystandership for law enforcement that's now in over 200 police departments across the country, including the New York City Police Department and now the Los Angeles Police Department, is its only upside. It's not it's not an internal affairs program, it's not a rat your buddy out program. It's designed to teach officers using the science of active bystandership to prevent them from making mistakes, prevent them from making misconduct, and also in promoting employee wellness as well, because we do know that rates of officer suicide and mental health issues with officers can be very high in our profession due to distress. So there's only an upside to this program. So I think once the officers get a good look at what we're doing, there's a lot of myths with new programs. Once they get a good look at what we're doing, they'll see that there's only upside, there's only positive benefit from it.
You intend to implement that here?
We will be implementing ABLE, active bystandership for law enforcement here in Knoxville.
Sir, as you look at the Knoxville Police Department, and I know you're just fresh to the scene here, what do you see as some of the core strengths and some of the core challenges or opportunities that you look to change?
So first of all, this is a really good department. You know, I wouldn't be here if this was not an excellent department. I think there's, you know, the past leadership under Chief Thomas and Chief Keith and the other past police chiefs have done a really good job of building a police department. So we're going to move forward, and we're going to continue to build upon the legacy that they left behind. You know, challenges for me, you know, I have to learn the words to Rocky Top, which is going to be a challenge. And I'm still looking for a good place to get crawfish up here. So if you know anything, let me know. But you know, we're going to be building. We're going to be moving forward, and it's going to be a really exciting time for the residents of Knoxville.
What are some of the top priorities? Is this bystander training something that you plan to implement pretty soon after arriving?
We will. So we will be joining ABLE pretty soon. You know, we have to build a new leadership team, which is, you know, everybody knows there's some vacancies at the top. I think there's a lot of positive aspects of that. We will, you know, be taking a hard look at data analytics. I'm a big proponent of using data to measure outcomes and to build strategies wrapped around data. And we will, you know, also recruiting. When you look at recruiting, you know, we have to not only build the ranks of the Knoxville Police Department, but equally as important, we have to find ways to recruit more people of color and more females to the organization as well. And not only recruit more people of color and more females, but find ways to train and mentor everyone through the organization so we could, the next police chief comes from inside this organization. And I will view my tenure here is not being successful if the next chief doesn't come from within this organization.
Can you talk a little bit more about that, particularly recruiting minority officers? It's such a low percentage here in Knoxville. You come from a pretty diverse department. Any ideas of where we can start to kind of bring that in, or some things you'd like to see happen in the next few months?
Sure, I think there's a lot of things we can do. I think it's a little premature. I won't be the police chief here for the 6 weeks. But, you know, I am fortunate, you know, coming from an agency that really represents the community. You know, New Orleans Police Department is about 60% black, and the community is about 60% black. And we have a much higher percentage of females as well. So that's going to be a top priority of mine, but it's a little premature to really start talking about what specific strategies we can use to reach that goal. So, you know, when I was researching cities, you know, I've been looking at, you know, where I was going to continue my career for a long time. And, you know, first of all, I was really drawn to this region. This is an amazing region. You know, I love the outdoors. I love college football. You guys have all of that here. You know, great community, really, really friendly. But there's a lot more similarities, I believe, from both cities than you would think. But I was just, you know, so excited to have the opportunity to come join the family up here.
Sir, you described yourself as a crime fighter. We've had a rising rate of homicides here in Knoxville over the past few years, as New Orleans has as well, and other cities too. What do you think some strategies are that can potentially mitigate some of the violent crime that we've seen in our community?
So again, I'm not the chief yet. I've not had a chance to get in and really take a deep dive and do an analysis of what the department's doing now and what we should tweak. But, you know, I can say that, you know, I believe that, you know, data analytics is so important. And, you know, like I said, I've not looked at the organization yet, but, you know, finding ways to be able to measure what we're doing, hold each other accountable. And I'm not just talking about holding subordinates accountable. We hold each other accountable for actions. And, you know, I believe in research and taking some chances and trying new things. And, you know, I love to try new things. I'm not afraid to try something. If it don't work, we'll try something else. But I think there's a tremendous opportunity here within this organization that's going to me, I see an organization that's strong, that has good leadership, good commitment, and is going to be willing to adapt and tweak to solve this problem, because we all know that we need to work hard, not only in Knoxville, but across the country, to reduce violent crime in our cities.
And crime intervention is important. I don't think we'll have any pushback on that, but we have a lot of families here in this area who are still waiting for justice for their family members. How can you talk about your success in solving those crimes in homicide?
Sure. So that's something we did, you know, in New Orleans. We had, I've been the chief of detectives now for 2 years, and, you know, we increased our solve rate. We increased the number of cold cases we've been able to solve by taking a different look at how we approach those crimes, a more analytical approach. Also, we implemented a program in New Orleans where we worked with the surviving family members of homicide, and we called it the Next of Kin program. It's something I would like to develop here as well, where we, you know, develop a strong bond with the surviving families of homicide, because we know sometimes it takes a long time to solve these cases. You know, sometimes, you know, it may take a year, it may take 2 years to solve a case, and we need to make sure that we don't forget those surviving members, and we work really closely with them. But the last thing I'll say to that is, I think sometimes when we talk about solving violent crime, we often forget how important community outreach is when we approach these crimes. You know, our detectives here in Knoxville don't have a crystal ball. right? So when a murder happens, they can't look in that crystal ball and see what happened. They need information from the community. And if the community trusts us, and more importantly, if they trust the police officers and the detectives that are on the street, then they will give us information, then will work with us. So it's our job as leaders of this organization is to work with the police officers in the community to build that trust with the criminal justice system so witnesses and people come forward to help us solve those cases.
You keep using the word accountability.
Mhm.
5 or 6 times now. Can you just talk about what that means personally to you and then how that impacts your leadership, whether that's with your family or the police department?
Absolutely. So, there's a lot of words that you'll hear me use, over the next decade that I'm going to be here. But, accountability, trust, collaboration, partnerships, and accountability is truly, it's so many things, but in this profession, we need to make sure that we're putting our police officers in the right places to be successful at the right times, and they're doing the right things. It's not simply good enough to say that this area is a so-called high crime area, I hate that word, and we're going to flood that area with a bunch of police officers to try to suppress crime. That works in the short term, but what we know is there's unintended consequences that could come from that. So when I talk about accountability, we don't just measure reducing crime. We will look at all aspects of the organization to make sure we're running a healthy organization and we're not creating unintended consequences. So, for example, we put a lot of police officers in one area and crime goes down, but use of force goes up, citizen complaints goes up, public trust starts going down. That could happen. So it's important that as a leadership, we use data to measure that, and then we train every level of the organization to use that data so we hold each other accountable.
Mayor, I was going to say, Mayor, I've got a question for you, if you don't mind.
Sure.
You've made diversity a really key cornerstone of your administration across the board, not just in the police department. And no offense to you, Mr. Noel, but you've named the white man to this position. The search process was very opaque, and members of the community are asking, some have wondered, how hard did you look for a diverse candidate for this role?
Well, we had a very diverse applicant pool, and I always said that I was going to pick the best person for the job, and Paul Noel was the best person for the job, and he and I both are very strongly committed to working to make our police force reflect the demographics of our community. And I'm super excited about the fact that 180 students at Fulton High School have signed up for the criminal justice program, and I met 5 of them at the State of the City address last Friday, and 4 of those 5 were African American, and they all want to join the Knoxville Police Department. So that's how we make change, and strong leadership and a commitment to that is going to continue with Chief Noel and with me, and that's how we make that happen.
And Mayor, you said before that you wanted an outside agency to come in and review KPD. Is that still on tap? Is that still
Yeah, well, I'm going to work with Chief Noel and talk about what that looks like going forward. But we have a lot of work to do, and he is not officially starting until mid-June, so we will keep you posted on all that.
Mayor, can I ask a question for,
Yeah,
for Mr. Noel?
sure.
Hello, I'm Veronica. I'm the Channel 6 of First of all, welcome. Also, we talked a lot about homicide, but there's also an issue when it comes to drugs in the area. Can you talk a little bit about kind of approaching that as well?
Sure. So again, I've not started yet, so I don't really want to get into specifics, but I will tell you that I do believe in the public health approach to dealing with narcotics and with addiction. Research has shown that we cannot arrest our way out of this problem. That does not mean that police don't have a role, but just approaching this strictly from a law enforcement standpoint doesn't get us where we need to be. So the public health approach is something that we're going to be really looking hard at. I'm really excited to see that KPD already has a co-responder model, and I'm absolutely committed to that, because the goal is to keep people from reoffending and to change behavior. And just simply arresting just does not get us there all the way.
We have time for 3 more questions.
Chief, you mentioned briefly a second ago that you wanted the next leader of KPD to come from inside the ranks. You're the first chief to come from outside the ranks, or at least outside of Knoxville. How are you going to win over people in the department and people in the community who, our phrase here is you ain't from around here, so how do you approach that?
Absolutely. So, it's obvious I'm not around here. You can just listen to me talk for about 30 seconds, and you could probably figure that out. But, I think I said it in my remarks. I am going to be very active within our police department. And, the officers are going to see me. They're going to know me. I'm going to be, very accessible. The best time I had in my career was when I was a district commander in New Orleans. I was in charge of the 2nd District. It's about population of about 100,000 people, about 100 plus cops. And got to know each one of them, got to know their families, worked really hard together as a team to solve problems, create safe public spaces, and reduce crime. That's what I'm so excited about here. So, of course, initially, everyone's going to be scared within the department. People will be nervous. People will be uncomfortable. But I think once they see me and they see what we're doing, is everything that we're doing is to make this city safe, to create safe public spaces, but also to develop them as well and to make sure that they're well-equipped, well-trained, and that the leaders are given strong leadership training so they can develop and grow, and then they can help develop the next generation of leaders within the organization.
We've had several top positions that are left open right now. Chief Thomas allowed them to be open so you could name your own team whenever that time came. Can you just talk a little bit about what you're looking for? You'll have 2, potentially maybe 3 deputy chief positions to go each. Talk about what that looks like.
Sure, I'm going to be looking for people that really match what my comments were. People that are, embrace research, embrace analytics, but have the strong leadership team, the strong leadership abilities to be able to move this organization, forward. I'm looking for, partners to help build this. And, it's not something that we're going to rush into. We're going to get this right.
One more question.
Are you going to be able to wear orange on game days every Saturday?
So if somebody told me if I wore an LSU shirt, I probably wouldn't make it out alive. So I will definitely be wearing orange. Orange is actually my favorite color, believe it or not. So I know that this tie. No, absolutely. Orange absolutely is my favorite color. Well before this, but I'm really excited to get to experience Neyland Stadium on game day. Once I get the feel for the public safety piece of it first. I've actually been in Neyland Stadium before to see an LSU game, and it's amazing when everybody in the stadium sings Rocky Top. It's truly, if that doesn't make the hair stand up on the back of your neck, nothing does. So I'm really excited to immerse myself in the sports environment here. You guys have a super high college baseball team from what I see. Really excited to see the Smokies coming back downtown. I love Major League Baseball as well, so I'm super excited to come join your family up here. Thank you.